She expressed it so casually, as if discussing the weather. I truly wish you had never been born. Her vibrant lip color did not even smudge when she spoke the words. The sparkling wine glass in her hand remained steady, but mine slightly shook. The entire sitting room froze. Laughter stopped mid-sentence, as if it too was ashamed to exist. Every guest at that immaculate family event turned to stare at me. The unwelcome daughter, the burden that had finally been voiced openly. I recall smiling, not out of serenity, but from sudden clarity. That was the instant I knew I no longer needed her affection, so I rose to my feet. I looked directly into her eyes and stated, then consider me completely not. Live your lives as if a daughter named Liam never existed. Silence returned. Even the background music seemed afraid to continue. I departed slowly with dignity, the type of exit that remains etched in memory. You see, people mistakenly believe betrayal is exclusive to romantic partners. They fail to recognize the quiet conflict that resides in families, where love is used as leverage and guilt as a restraint. My mother, Mary, was the kind of woman who masked her need for absolute control with apparent concern. She dressed her cruelty in false praise. When I was 4, she called me her perfectly constructed small project. By 16, I was her greatest disappointment. By 25, I was her financial error. But I persisted because that is what children often do. They persist until the final wound is self-inflicted. The situation began to deteriorate when my father became unwell. Hospital invoices, endless late nights. I covered the majority of the expenses. She claimed she could not cope with the pressure. Then one afternoon, I overheard her speaking to her sibling on the phone, laughing and mentioning she had already revised the last will, ensuring I would inherit nothing. My own mother, after all my efforts, the payments, the sleepless devotion, the loyalty she had, completely disinherited me. I did not weep. I did not scream. I just listened intently. Every word felt like a drop of highly flammable fuel. That night, I sat by the window watching the city lights shimmer like distant infernos, and I made a straightforward decision. If she desired my removal, I would grant her precisely what she requested, but not in silence. I began with her philanthropic organization, the one she established for the empowerment of women. It was truly ironic. She had been utilizing it to divert donor funds into her personal accounts. One possessed access to her electronic messages, her passwords, years of blind faith. So I meticulously gathered the evidence. Every false transaction receipt, every fabricated financial statement. I sent copies to news organizations. Under an anonymous identity, the daughter's witness. The expose broke 2 weeks later. Newspaper headlines condemned her dishonesty. Her contributors disappeared. Her reputation disintegrated quicker than her treasured pearl necklace the evening I walked away. Next came the real estate. She was unaware that I was still listed as a co-owner of the summer property, the one my father had added me to, prior to his passing. Quietly, I initiated the sale, transferred my portion of the proceeds to a local women's shelter he had previously supported. The legal document required her signature as well. She had signed it years ago, too careless to notice the minute details. By the time she realized the action was irreversible, her legal advisor delivered the very words I had been waiting for her to hear. You cannot reverse this now. The final confrontation occurred 3 months later, at her birthday celebration. She had attempted to restore her public image. A smaller venue, fewer attendees, all deliberately ignoring the recent scandal. I received an invitation, of course. She wanted to have a discussion. I attended, not seeking reconciliation, but demanding resolution. She greeted me as if nothing terrible had transpired. My dearest, you look stunning, she said, her voice oozing with affected charm. I surveyed the room, the same faces, the same superficial smiles. They do not know the very latest news, I thought. I leaned in close enough for her expensive scent to irritate my throat, and I whispered, you should definitely check tomorrow's newspapers, the main headline. Her forced smile immediately faded. The color vanished from her face because she realized the final blow was coming. The extensive interview I had given, anonymous sharing, everything her falsehoods, her manipulations, her dishonesty, and this time the evidence was undeniable. That night, her constructed world collapsed. The board of the charity dissolved. Formal investigations were launched. Her name, the one she protected more than her very soul, became synonymous with deceit. So when she told me she wished I had never been born, she was absolutely right. The version of me that desperately craved her approval died a long time ago. Now I am something entirely different. Composed, unattainable, untouchable. I did not destroy her. I simply withdrew myself and watched. Everything she had constructed crumble under the enormous weight of her own deceptions? People suggest revenge is toxic. Perhaps, but sometimes poison is merely therapeutic medicine when administered correctly. That night, as I walked out of the celebration, the very last one she would ever host, I felt no hatred, only silence. A tranquil, cold silence. And somewhere behind me in that room filled with stunned expressions, my mother finally grasped my meaning. I never screamed. I never insulted her. I simply did exactly what she wished. I became as if I never existed.